Hi folks. You've been reading in the first three chapters all the background information about humanities, and one of the biggest things that we need to know for the whole semester is this idea of Apollonian-Dionysian analysis. And it's how you, as a viewer or listener or whatever, interact with a piece of art and how you analyze it. Okay? We analyze art all the time emotionally. Do we like it? Do we not? If we like it, we watch it again, we listen to it again. If we don't like it, we just ignore it. We say, God, that was horrible. Tell your friends it was horrible. You just never interact with it again. But for the most part, we don't do a lot of time intellectually analyzing it, unless you're a theater nerd like me and you enjoy that kind of thing. But one of the things you're going to do this semester, and one of the main things, is learn how to look at a piece of art, whether it's a poem, a song, a movie, a play, whatever, dance piece, and analyze it with an Apollonian and Dionysian method, which means intellectually and emotionally. You will do this for the first time when you do your poem analysis next week, when we talk about the literature chapter. Then you will have a song to do. Then you will have a movie, which I've already assigned. It's Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell. And then at the end of the semester, you will pick a piece of art that you like and do that similar kind of analysis. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of explanation, because sometimes this is kind of a hard thing to wrap your brain around. So hopefully this will help. If you have not, at this point, watched the clip from I Am Legend first, go back and do that before you finish the rest of this announcement, because I'm going to be using that as an example. Okay, so those of you who've seen I Am Legend will know. Those of you who haven't, you should, because it's a good movie. The movie is basically about a guy who thinks he is the last living human on Earth who has not been transformed by this virus, which basically turns people into vampires, for lack of a better word, or zombie vampires, whatever you want to call them. And in this scene that I showed you, he's out, he's upset, he's out trying to provoke them, he sort of wrecks, and then his dog is attacked by the vampire zombie dogs. Now, up until this point, the dog, which was given to him by his daughter, he's called Sam. His daughter gave it to him for company right before she was evacuated from New York. And so Sam has a particular resonance for him because it was his daughter's dog. It's his only friend. It's his only contact, his only company. He's very dependent on this dog. The second the dog is attacked and he realizes that the dog is hurt, he calls the dog Samantha. Now, I don't know if anybody else who's seen this movie realized this, but when I saw this movie in the theater, I immediately started bawling. Now, of course, I am tender-hearted and I'm very susceptible to getting involved with movies or whatever, but there was something about the realization that the dog was a girl. Up until that point, I'd thought the dog was a boy. He called it Sam. I just assumed it was a boy, without even really thinking about it, you know. But the minute he said Samantha, I went, oh, it's a girl, and I started crying. I don't know if it was because his daughter gave it to him and the dog was a girl, or what the deal was, no offense, guys, but something about that struck me as even sadder. So that is a choice that I feel certain that the screenwriter, the director, somebody made to call that dog Sam until that very moment, because that gave it more of an emotional punch. Okay? So what I just did was both Apollonian and Dionysian analysis. Dionysian in the huge emotional reaction I had to it, but Apollonian in breaking down why I had that reaction to it. Okay? So Apollonian analysis is looking at it intellectually, really breaking it down and going, this is why that made me feel the way it did. Okay? Another example, when he gets Samantha back to the lab and he tries to save her, he tries to give her vaccines, and he eventually realizes it's not going to work, and he sits down on the ground holding her, and he realizes, you know, he checks her teeth and he looks at her, her hair's coming out or whatever, and he realizes he's going to have to kill her or she will rip his throat out and kill him. When the moment comes for him to strangle her, twist her neck, whatever it is he does to her, the camera goes right up on his face. And we don't see what he's doing, but we know what he's doing. But think about it for a minute. Why does it focus on his face rather than letting us see what's happening? I would contend that it's because we know what's happening, and that part's not important. The seeing it isn't important. What's important is what it's doing to him to have to do it, because that is his last comfort, his last connection to his daughter and his wife. This dog had become his everything, and to have to kill her when he's the one that went out being reckless and got them in trouble in the first place is horrible. It's so horrible. So that's what I mean by Apollonian Dionysian analysis. With Apollonian, you're looking at the structure, the theme, the acting, the costumes, the sets, the plot, the dialogue, all the stuff that was very intentional choices by the screenwriter, the director, the actors, whatever. And they make all those choices because they want to have a very specific emotional reaction in the audience. And then when you talk about how you interacted with it emotionally, that's the Dionysian analysis, okay? So it's really looking at a piece of art both ways, with your brain and with your heart. And when you can get those two working together, it's amazing. I love something that, like, I'm really caught up in it and feeling it when it happens, and then afterwards I'm still thinking about it, like I'm really pondering it still and wondering, why was this that way, and what does that really mean, and how does it relate to my life? That's all the Apollonian stuff. The Dionysian is what you get when you're really engaged in it and really involved. And then the Apollonian is kind of like when you can step back and go, okay, I had all these reactions. Why did I react that way? I'll give you another example. The movie Saving Private Ryan, if you've ever seen it. The first time I saw it in the movie theater, the minute they assaulted the beach, I started crying. And I cried through the entire thing. Yes, it was traumatic. Yes, it was stressful. People are dying, bullets flying, pieces of bodies or whatever. But I realized what connected me to it was my father is a Vietnam veteran who was wounded. He got a Purple Heart, a Silver Star. Like, I was envisioning him in that situation, and it made it even more personal to me. So I had that emotional reaction, which looking at it is Dionysian analysis, and then really analyzing why I reacted that way and how that scene was shot and how believable it looked and how graphic it was. That's Apollonian analysis. Use your brain and your heart. Okay? So this is what we'll be doing this semester, is really looking at it both ways and realizing that they go hand in hand. You can intellectually look at something and realize that the way they did that was specifically to get that reaction out of you. When you look at comedy, there's called the rule of 3 in comedy. If you do something 3 times, the third time it's funny. That's a choice that they made very clearly that you can recognize in an Apollonian manner, but then you still have that Dionysian reaction to it of laughing out loud, okay? So that's what I want you to do, is really look at something and think about, why is it this way? Why did they do it this way instead of a different way? Why did they put the camera on this part in the movie, or why did they choose this particular lyric in the song, or why does the song get quiet there and then really loud again, or whatever it is. Artists are always crafting little tiny details so that we can get something out of it, okay? So I like that I Am Legend thing because it's a good, easy sort of identification with choices made by the director or the screenwriter or whoever and how it affects you. But that's what we're looking at this semester, is that art can make you think and it can make you feel. And good art does both. Okay? Next week, I'm going to give you a poem to analyze, and I want you to look at it intellectually, the structure, sort of the images she uses, the language. But then, did you like it? Did it connect with you in some way? Did you get something out of it? If not, that's okay, because you're not going to like everything you see or hear this semester from this class. Not everything is going to be, something you really love. But give it an open mind and try to look at it both ways, and you may find there's more to it than you thought in the first place, okay? So I hope that kind of helps explain Apollonian Dionysian analysis. I'll give you feedback on your poem, I'll give you feedback on the song, I'll give you feedback on the movie critique. But this is really one of the main things of this class, is realizing how to look at a piece of art and enjoy it while it's happening, and then kind of use your brain to break it down and look at it a little more objectively. because the artist really thought hard about it. It didn't just come out of nowhere. Okay? So, hope this helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you're interested in having a online class meeting where we can kind of talk about it and have a discussion, I'm willing to do that too. You guys just got to let me know, okay? And again, if you haven't seen I Am Legend, you really should. It's nothing like the book. In the book, they are very clearly vampires, and they capture him, and at the end, he looks out before they execute him and says, "Oh, I'm the legend, because we used to be scared of vampires, and now they're scared of me as the only human left." And that's what made him a legend. If you watch I Am Legend, you'll figure out why the movie says he's a legend, okay? But I encourage you to watch it because it's a great movie, and Will Smith is a fantastic actor. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll look forward to seeing what you guys think about the poem next week.